Struggling with Azure compute concepts? This practice test breaks down the most challenging AZ-104 questions with step-by-step explanations. From VM deployment to container orchestration, you'll understand exactly why each answer is correct and why others aren't. Question 1. You have an Azure subscription. You plan to deploy a container. You need to recommend which Azure services can scale the container automatically. What should you recommend? The options are A. Azure Container Apps only, B. Azure Container Instances only, C. Azure Container Apps or Azure App Service only, D. Azure Container Instances or Azure App Service only. This question tests your knowledge of which Azure Container hosting services provide built-in automatic scaling capabilities. The key word is automatically. You need services with native autoscaling, not manual scaling or custom solutions. The correct answer is Azure Container Apps or Azure App Service only. Azure Container Apps and Azure App Service are the only two services that provide built-in automatic container scaling. Here's why. Azure Container Apps. Azure Container Apps provides comprehensive automatic horizontal scaling through KEY-A, Kubernetes Event-Driven Autoscaling Integration. It supports A. HTTP traffic scaling based on concurrent requests, B. CPU memory-based scaling when resource thresholds are met, C. Custom KEDA scalers for event-driven scenarios, Azure Service Bus, storage queues, etc. D. Scale to zero capability for cost optimization. The platform manages automatic horizontal scaling through a set of declarative scaling rules. As a container app scales out, new instances of the container app are created on demand. Azure App Service. Azure App Service also provides built-in automatic scaling for containerized web apps. It offers automatic scaling mode that adjusts based on HTTP traffic without manual rules, rule-based autoscaling using metrics like CPU, memory, HTTP queue length, always ready and pre-warmed instances for smooth performance transitions, per app maximum limits to prevent overwhelming backend systems. With automatic scaling, you can adjust scaling settings to improve your app's performance and avoid cold start issues. Azure Container Instances. Azure Container Instances, ACI, does not provide built-in autoscaling. As stated clearly, Azure Container Instances does not provide autoscaling out of the box. While you can manually scale by redeploying or build custom autoscaling solutions using Azure Functions logic apps, ACI lacks native automatic scaling capabilities. Quick takeaway. For automatic container scaling, choose Azure Container Apps or Azure App Service. Both provide native, built-in autoscaling without custom code. Azure Container Instances requires manual intervention or custom automation to scale. If this video is helping you, support us by hitting the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Question 2. You have an Azure subscription. You need to create an Azure container instance named Content1. The solution must meet the following requirements. Ensure that specific configuration parameters are applied to Cont1 during the container startup. Provide secure values to Cont1 during the container startup. What should you configure for Cont1? The options are A. A command override, B. Tags, C. Customer managed keys, D. Environment variables. This question tests your knowledge of how to pass both regular configuration and secure sensitive values to Azure container instances at startup. You need a solution that handles both configuration parameters and secure values in one mechanism. The correct answer is environment variables. Environment variables are the correct solution because they specifically address both requirements in the question. According to Microsoft documentation, setting environment variables in your container instances allows you to provide dynamic configuration of the application or script run by the container. Why environment variables meet both requirements? 1. Configuration parameters at startup. Environment variables provide dynamic configuration when the container starts, similar to the env argument in Docker. You can pass values like numwords equal 5 or min length equals 8 to configure application behavior without rebuilding the container image. 2. Secure values at startup. Environment variables support secure values specifically designed for sensitive information like passwords, connection strings, and API keys. Using the secure value parameter instead of value, you can pass secrets that aren't visible in the container's properties. They can only be accessed from within the running container. Why the other options are incorrect. Command override only changes the container's startup command, doesn't provide configuration parameters or secure value storage. Tags Metadata for resource organization/management, not used for runtime configuration or passing values to containers. Customer managed keys, used for encrypting data at rest in Azure services, not for passing configuration or secrets to containers at startup. Quick takeaway: environment variables in Azure container instances are the unified solution for passing both regular configuration parameters and secure sensitive values to containers at startup. They're safer than embedding values in images and more flexible than other configuration methods. To get the free PDF or mock test, comment PDF or mock or both. I will share the downloadable link within the next 24 hours. Question 3. You have an Azure subscription that contains an Azure Virtual Machine named VM1. VM1 runs a financial reporting app named App1 that does not support multiple active instances. At the end of each month, CPU usage for VM1 peaks when App1 runs. You need to create a scheduled runbook to increase the processor performance of VM1 at the end of each month. What task should you include in the runbook? The options are A. Add VM1 to a scale set. B. Add the Azure Performance Diagnostics agent to VM1. C. Modify the VM size property of VM1. D. Increase the vCPU quota for the subscription. E. Add a desired state configuration DSC extension to VM1. This question tests your knowledge of vertical scaling, scaling up versus horizontal scaling, scaling out for Azure VMs. The critical constraint is that App1 does not support multiple active instances. This eliminates horizontal scaling options. The correct answer is modify the VM size property of VM1. Modifying the VM size property is the correct solution because it performs vertical scaling, scaling up, which increases the VM's processor and memory resources without creating additional instances. According to multiple Azure automation guides, this is achieved through Azure automation runbooks that resize VMs on a schedule. Why the other options are incorrect? Scale set, designed for horizontal scaling, multiple instances, which App1 doesn't support. Performance diagnostics agent, only monitors, diagnoses performance issues, doesn't increase performance. vCPU quota increase, increases subscription limits but doesn't modify the VM itself. DSC extension, for configuration management, not performance enhancement. Quick takeaway: for apps that don't support multiple instances but need periodic performance boosts, use Azure Automation Runbooks to schedule VM size changes, vertical scaling. This provides more CPU memory during peak times while allowing cost optimization by scaling back down afterward. Question 4. You have an Azure subscription that contains a virtual machine named VM1 and an Azure Key Vault named KV1. You need to configure encryption for VM1. The solution must meet the following requirements: store and use the encryption key in KV1. Maintain encryption if VM1 is downloaded from Azure. Encrypt both the operating system disk and the data disks. Which encryption method should you use? The options are A. Customer managed keys. B. Azure Disk Encryption C. Confidential disk encryption. D. Encryption at host. This question tests your understanding of different Azure disk encryption methods and their key differentiator, whether encryption persists when disks are downloaded. The critical requirement is maintain encryption if VM1 is downloaded from Azure, which eliminates most options. The correct answer is Azure Disk Encryption. Azure Disk Encryption is the correct answer because it's the only method that satisfies all three requirements, especially the critical requirement about maintaining encryption when downloaded. Why Azure Disk Encryption meets all requirements? 1. Uses keys from Azure Key Vault. Azure Disk Encryption integrates with Azure Key Vault to store and manage encryption keys. You configure ADE to use customer-managed keys stored in KV1 for encrypting VM disks. 2. Maintains encryption if downloaded. This is the key differentiator. Azure Disk Encryption uses BitLocker, Windows, or dmcrypt Linux to encrypt disks at the guest OS level, inside the VM itself. The encryption happens at the volume disk level, so if you download or export the VHD file, it remains encrypted. You would need the encryption key from Key Vault to decrypt it. 3. Encrypts both OS and data disks. Azure Disk Encryption encrypts both the operating system disk and any attached data disks on the VM. Why the other options don't work? Customer-managed keys with server-side encryption disk encryption sets. While this uses keys from Key Vault, it's server-side encryption that encrypts data at rest on Azure's storage platform. When you download the VHD, the data is decrypted during the download process and stored unencrypted locally. It does not maintain encryption after download. Encryption at host, similar to server-side encryption, it encrypts data on the VM host server but doesn't maintain encryption when VHDs are downloaded. Confidential disk encryption. This is for confidential VMs with specialized security requirements and doesn't specifically address the download requirement. Quick takeaway. Azure Disk Encryption is the only option that provides guest-level encryption inside the VM using BitLocker DMCrypt, which ensures disks remain encrypted even when downloaded from Azure. All other options use transparent server-side encryption that only protects data while it's stored in Azure. Question 5. You have an Azure subscription. You plan to migrate 50 virtual machines from VMware vSphere to the subscription. You create a recovery services vault. What should you do next? The options are A. Create a recovery plan. B. Deploy an open virtualization application OVA template to vSphere. C. Create and configure a virtual network. D. Configure an extended network. This question tests your knowledge of the Azure Site Recovery migration workflow sequence for VMware VMs. After creating the Recovery Services Vault, you need to prepare the Azure target environment before deploying migration tools. The correct answer is create and configure a virtual network. Creating and configuring a virtual network is the next logical step after creating the Recovery Services Vault because you need to prepare the Azure target infrastructure before setting up replication. Why virtual network comes next. 1. Prerequisites for migration. Before deploying the replication infrastructure or starting VM replication, you need to prepare the Azure environment where VMs will run after migration. The virtual network is a fundamental component. Your migrated VMs need network connectivity when they're failed over to Azure. 2. Required during replication setup. When you enable replication for VMware VMs through Azure Site Recovery, you must specify the target virtual network where VMs will connect after failover migration. According to the documentation, you can select an existing Azure network or create a new target network to be used during failover. Having the network already created streamlines the replication configuration process. 3. Logical preparation sequence. Why other options come later? OVA template deployment. This is the configuration server replication appliance that gets deployed after the Azure target environment, including virtual network, is prepared. Recovery plan. Created much later in the process, after replication is enabled, and you're ready to orchestrate the actual migration failover. Extended network, not a standard requirement for basic VMware to Azure migration using site recovery. Quick takeaway. Before deploying migration tools or replicating VMs, prepare your Azure landing zone by creating the virtual network infrastructure. This ensures migrated VMs have proper network connectivity in Azure from day one. If these questions felt close to the real exam, hit like and subscribe. Next up is Configure and Manage Virtual Networking for AZ-104.